What made it this way? What is the attraction? What keeps us fascinated? This is the story of Chris-Chan. On August 18, 2019, Christine, while masquerading as her supposed husband Magi-Chan Sonichu, who had supposedly possessed her body, shared on his Twitter account the word of focus, according to her Word of the Day app. Luminary, defined as a person who has attained eminence in their field or was an inspiration to others, claiming that he and Christine were such luminescent individuals. Magi-Chan instead could have inspired others to check out this video's sponsor, Atlas VPN. The virtual private network is running an amazing campaign where you can get a 3-year subscription for only $1.83 per month, plus an extra 3 months for free if you visit the link in the description. One of my favorites out of Atlas VPN's many features is it allows you to access geo-restricted content on the likes of Netflix, Hulu, or HBO Go, which will differ or may not even be available depending on the country you're physically in. So with just a click on their simple user-friendly interface, I can change the location of my IP and DNS addresses. And Netflix thinks that I'm suddenly in Japan, so I can enjoy the hottest content Japan has to offer. What's more, Atlas VPN also protects you from privacy snooping, as well as blocks links, ads, and trackers of ill repute from trying to steal your data, allowing you to explore the internet safely on an unlimited number of devices of any kind. This is a limited time offer, so check out the link down in the description to get a 3-year subscription to Atlas VPN with another 3 months for free and a 30-day money-back guarantee. Special and sincere thanks to Atlas VPN for sponsoring this video. On August 19th, comic artist and YouTuber Ben Saint, who had previous links with Chris-Chan lore, asked Magi-Chan about an alleged city in Dimension C197 that was harnessing the power of slime for endless gang violence, a concept Saint created and used in his own comics and online community. Magi-Chan took his concerns seriously and quelled his troublesome worries. Magi-Chan claimed that there will not be any post-apocalyptic scenario caused by the slime, for he had foreseen, checked, double-checked, and rechecked all possible timelines. On August 20th, Magi-Chan wrote that there was a falsified death certificate for Chris's mother, Barbara, that should not be trusted, for she was still alive and well. He later posted a new photo of Barbara to validate his claim. When a Twitter user inquired whether Barbara had been told that Magi-Chan had allegedly taken over Christine's body, Magi-Chan wrote that she had, and had taken it very calmly, without any emotional outbursts or stress. Another user commented that her reaction may have been due to her suffering from dementia, a claim that Magi-Chan refuted. When asked if Barbara could swap bodies before she passed away, Magi-Chan replied that it was possible, but she was instead fated to have a quote-unquote dip in the fountain of youth. On August 22nd, he tweeted about the Japanese concept of otaku, or people who heavily invest in their hobbies and have very little social life. Magi-Chan admitted that despite the messiness of Christian's room prior to the house fire of January 2014, in his own way, he made being an otaku cool for present and future generations. However, unlike other otakus, Christine was able to become a social butterfly in recent years. He further wrote about how Chris was an accidental trendsetter, as seen for example in her Nintendo game Animal Crossing documentary video from 2003, which may be considered as one of the first ever Let's Plays, and also her dance with Magi-Chan at the 2017 BronyCon. Magi-Chan applauded those who lived their lives while changing from introverts to social butterflies. On August 24th, Chris, under the guise of Magi-Chan, wrote on Twitter that he was listening to the YouTube video series Chris-Chan: A Comprehensive History, made by Gino Samuel 2.1, which documented Chris's life in detail. He alleged that according to the information in the videos, Christine successfully predicted the conception of Sonic the Hedgehog games that were solely released on Nintendo consoles. Later that day, Magi-Chan wrote on Chris's behalf that she was currently watching part 4 of the Comprehensive History series, which addressed Christian's friendship with Megan Schroeder. He corrected the claims made by Gino Samuel that Megan had introduced to Chris My Little Pony and Sailor Moon, and that in actuality, Chris had watched those animated series during his childhood and teenage years. The next day, Null, the administrator of the Kiwi Farms, revealed that Chris had suddenly messaged him. The contents of her texts were not revealed, but Null claimed that Chris became upset because he refused to refer to her as Magi-Chan. Chris's thoughts and actions made Null sad because it reminded him of the mental decline of Terry A. Davis, a computer programmer with a strong following on Kiwi Farms who suffered with schizophrenia, who after struggling with homelessness had apparently committed suicide in 2018.
I'm a white man, I wrote my own fucking compiler, I'm not a nigger like Linus.
On the 26th, Christine briefly returned to her main Twitter account to reply negatively to a Twitter user with a protected account who posted about the final episode of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, the conclusion of which Chris rejected. Members of the Kiwi Farms theorized that it was because the protected account had approved Chris to follow them and not Magi-Chan, hence why she had to switch accounts to relay her message. On August 27th, the supposed Magi-Chan revealed that he had finished watching Gino Samuel's so-called chronological history series on Chris-Chan and wrote a tweet thread regarding some past events which allegedly involved him. I will attest in those moments when she played split personality. Back then, I was in her mind. I was trying to talk to her, including, "I want out, Christian," and "Christian, we both know what we want. We should let us out." The comments under that video, as mentioned in part 17, I typed those, personally, while in mild possession of her at the time. I was the Christopher in that back and forth in those few videos. Also, when she was younger than 7 years old, I talked to her through her nose talking, working as her vocal conscious. I have always been ever present and as guiding and helpful as I could possibly be from the C197 side of the dimensional curtain. I could not get through all of the time though, and I knew she was. Fated to learn the difficult way through the many trials and tribulations with the online ships she had. I felt crestfallen every time when she recorded herself gay-shaming, and I cried when she used the Bible verses to back it up. I tried to tell her then, "It was a freaking parody, Christian. You were not supposed to take it serious," on the Leviticus quote inspired by the Family Guy moment. When I typed in the comments of that music video, I was feeling frustrated. I have always known she was a bisexual. I wanted out in being free to love her as she was then, as well as being fully in Dimension 1218. She subconsciously knew she was bisexual, but she had felt really upset and adamant about herself back then. And the fact that the haters were throwing various labels upon her, aside from and including gay. Had no one called her any of the gender identity terms alongside the other negative adjectives, at CPU_quick Sonichu would have more likely realized, understood, accepted, and come out as bisexual and trans woman a lot sooner. Clear a throat, deep breaths. That is all for now. Thank you. Purple heart, lightning emoji. Later that same day, Chris as Magi-Chan joined the dedicated Chris-Chan worship forum or subreddit, Cult of Quick, on the site Reddit, as a moderator, asking other members to share their stories of how Christine had positively affected their lives. The next day, Christine returned to her own official Twitter account to retweet a tweet from philanthropist Bill Pult, who voted to grant $2,700 in cash to a random person that retweeted his message. Later on, she went back to her Magi-Chan account and followed the account representing Jabba, an agency serving elders, caregivers, and their families. A Twitter user then wrote to her that it was acceptable to admit that she no longer believed in things she did as a child and did not have to make up justifications for her changes of thought. Magi-Chan wrote that Chris realized this and would make sure she addresses this topic once she returned from California. When asked, Magi-Chan elaborated that Christine was in Magi-Chan's body in California, accompanied by her alleged spouse, the Pokemon Mewtwo, completing more events regarding the dimensional merge. Also on that day, Magi-Chan, while possessing Chris's body, wrote on the online chatting application Discord to Chris's supporter, Jacob Sockness, that he thought Jacob looked sexy while wearing a certain one-piece pajama. They went on to discuss a proposed trip to California, where Chris would meet up with Sockness. Finally, the supposed Magi-Chan privately messaged Gino Samuel on Twitter, letting him know that the 20-part series at the time helped not only Christine, but Magi-Chan himself in better recollecting the events of the past, and letting go of the negativity associated with the trolls before 2014. Magi-Chan reflected that she has come a long way in her character development and thanked Gino for his work, looking forward to future videos. On August 29th, when an inquiring Twitter user asked for an update of the new kitten Posse that had wandered into the Chandlers' home about 3 weeks prior, Magi-Chan revealed that in spite of their best efforts to take care of her, the kitten passed away. Barbara and Magi-Chan cried for her, even though he apparently foresaw that the kitten would not survive for very long. Soon after, Magi-Chan posted a drawing he apparently made of Sonichu and Rosechu playing the MLP card game Twilight Sparkle's secret Shipfic folder. On the final day of August, Magi-Chan shared a new fundraiser on the site GoFundMe, made by one Alan Christopher, a fan of Chris and romantic admirer of Jacob Sockness, who resided in the United Kingdom. The $5,000 goal fundraiser was apparently to fund Christine's participation in Christopher's book series that would aid charities and programs supporting people with learning development problems. Part of Christine's duties in the project were set to be travels to the UK and Japan. Throughout early September, Magi-Chan continuously posted new custom cards that he and Christine made for her upcoming expansion deck for the card game Twilight Sparkle's secret Shipfic folder. Some of the artwork was credited to Chris, while the others bore Magi-Chan's signature. On September 2nd, the supposed Magi-Chan shared another fundraising campaign posted on the site Just Giving that was also created by Alan Christopher, which purported to be collecting funds for Christine's trip around the world with Christopher and his friends, in addition to creating more comic books. The next day, Christine resubscribed to the Patreon page of noted My Little Pony creator Dr. Wolf. This drew the attention of some of Christine's own current and former Patreon funders, who criticized her for spending most of her time conversing with Jacob Sockness and even contributing to other Patreon creators, instead of paying attention to her own financial backers. On September 6th, Magi-Chan reported that Barbara had her van checked and found that it needed repairs that would cost them $1,000. He asked for people to donate to Sockness's fundraising page for his proposed trip to Chris's house, hoping to use the funds for the Chandler's personal matters. Jacob agreed on the arrangement. This tweet raised the attention of one Righteous for Quick, a Twitter user purporting to be a supporter of Chris Chan, masquerading as a feminine LGBTQ-inspired take of the Halloween movie franchise villain Michael Myers, who warned Christine to be wary of Jacob Sockness. Righteous would also post edited videos on YouTube praising and seemingly deifying Christine.
She's smiling like a she'll be making a journey very soon to progress. Everything there is. We will all be able to see and coexist with each other very soon.
In order to encourage people to contribute to Sockness's GoFundMe page, Jacob shared a 4-month-old Reddit post that he wrote, purporting to be a transcript of a channeling session during which Magi-Chan was said to have been controlling Jacob's body. Followers dismissed the conversation as a forgery solely conceived by Sockness, as Magi-Chan's speech patterns did not match those as seen in his tweets or YouTube video. However, the purported Magi-Chan on Twitter denied that during the session he was calling Christine her hubby, but rather her honey, but forgave the misinterpretation, as channeling and telepathy were tough skills to master. On September 9th, Magi-Chan, allegedly controlling Chris's body, joined the private Discord group for Sonichu Mania, devoted to a team of amateur developers who sought to create a mod, or downloadable feature to be implemented into the game Sonic Mania Plus, which would allow the character of Sonic the Hedgehog to take on the appearance of Sonichu, amongst other proposed additional cosmetic alterations. Magi-Chan proceeded to answer questions from some of the members of the Discord, with one commenting that the concept of all original characters existing in the alternate universe, even if they were simply thought of by the creators who did not commit their creations to the physical realm, and that infinite universes contained infinite universes themselves, defied the laws of physics. Magi-Chan told the Inquisitor that it was best for them to throw logic out the window and to not overthink the details of how and why. On September 13th, in response to a Twitter user asking others if they had any guilty pleasure waifus, or fictional typically female characters that one romanticized, despite some glaring negative traits, Magi-Chan wrote that Chris's parents, Robert and Barbara, while they were still developing, were his waifu. He singled out Barbara as having been a guilty pleasure waifu, while Bob was said to have been a successful model in Dimension 1218. On September 14th, Magi-Chan declared that Christine had just returned from California with Mewtwo and would regain control of her body soon. Shortly after, Chris returned to her own Twitter account to announce that she had regained control of her body. She then posted a lengthy pre-written account of her travels, noting that while in Magi-Chan's body, she ran from Virginia to California. Along the way, she met up with her old friend, Anna McLaren, who initially was startled at hearing Magi-Chan's voice telepathically. Afterwards, Chris and Mewtwo traveled to Jacob Sockness's home, who was said to have been civil and kind. Christine admitted to have been horny and sensual, and so she leapt into Jacob's body pillow fashioned to look like her, which allowed the two to hug each other. Chris then recounted her further travels and adventures, which included fighting off demons summoned by Jacoba, the demonic entity introduced to her by Sockness. Also on the 14th, the Sonichu Mania developer group held a 3.5-hour livestream on YouTube discussing the game Sonic Mania Plus and their development of the Sonichu mod. Christine joined them 44 minutes in.
Well, I've been here, I'm here. Hello, hello.
Howdy.
I'm fun.
Howdy.
So, Christine, how have you been?
Been doing pretty good, been doing alright. Magi-Chan and I have been swamped and been in each other's bodies the past month. I just got back from California, and boy, is my soul tired. Tell you what, here's a voice, tell you what, Sonichu just completed a level. Here's your sample from me, just a direct thing. Alright, zap into the extreme!
Die, monster. You don't belong in this world.
No, you belong in Minecraft dimension. You're a creeper.
That's actually pretty good.
Do you refer to him as Dr. Eggman or Dr. Robotnik?
Most of the time I go with Robotnik, because that's what I grew up with.
Yeah.
If you want to call him Eggman, that's fine, but also, just in jest, spell his name backwards. Kinto Borer. Nah, I'm gay. Nah, I'm gay. You say it slowly, that's what it sounds like.
No.
Nah, I'm gay.
Do you have any preference on for the Sonichu Mania mod? Do you have any preference on who you would want to take Tails' place?
You take me, my Sonichu form, Chris Chan Sonichu. I'm replacing Tails. I got the psychic power, so I can levitate.
Okay.
People in the stream chat are like, "Yo, Blue Spike's in the call."
It's like he time traveled.
This is not Blue Spike. This is not Blue Spike. I personally confirm it because Blue Spike is dead. Good night, everybody.
Does this sound like a dead man to you?
Can we get a shout out to Gino Samuel?
Gino, I liked your series. Through Magi-Chan watching it and me catching up with it in mental link, it's a good series and it reminded me of the Bad Troll. Works well. At least you didn't offend me too much.
Yeah, I think he's just doing the series for like documentary sake. I don't think he doesn't want to be mean or anything. Gino Samuel's a really nice guy.
Mhm.
Yes, I see that. He is. Oh boy, now the brain's trying to remember one where it said something, where Gino Samuel had said something. I think he was stiltily singing a song, and I think it was one of the more recent videos, not number 21. Although that was a fun epic burn from my father when he answered the phone in part 21. They weren't expecting my daddy, but they got him.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of your family, how's Barb?
He's doing very well. He's actually quite capable for her age and everything.
The Sonichu Mania group then quickly deleted the stream and abandoned the project, but Kiwi Farms members managed to archive the stream in time and soon re-uploaded it onto YouTube. It was at around this time that Chris joined the Place Discord group, populated by a small number of enablers who vowed to win her trust by encouraging her beliefs and would in turn aim to protect her from malicious outsiders. The Discord included Chris's online friend, Maker Nightv, Not, an alleged longtime minor troll of Chris, Kyle, also known as Nova, a worker at a suicide hotline, and YouTuber the WCT, invited to join by Not, who is making a multi-part series covering YouTuber and mass murderer Randy Stair, inspired by the Chris-Chan, a comprehensive history documentary series by Gino Samuel 2.1. Other members who held a less active role in communicating with Chris were Kiwi Farms moderator, the American Hedgehog, and Quickie administrator and former man-in-the-pickle-suit troll, Marvin. On September 16th, in response to Ben Saint's musings, Christine wrote a series of tweets reflecting on her infamy. Everyone seems to be compelled by me, especially the Christorians. Any outsiders, and I, being meta, end up wondering why. My earliest online content was a fan at Pokemon website, Quick's Pokesite, mostly my more than 2 cents on Pokemon and the TCG. Eventually, I added my Sonichu book pages online. The drama happens with me. The locals take observation and later tell the stories and comment online. Before even the Yep, I'm on TV DVD on February 24th, 2007. The video content was light and spontaneous, and most of the future uploaded videos I made end up featuring rants, shoutings, and crap that would frighten anyone shitless. I recall that there was a mythos about me online. Myself, Chris-Chan, I was an OC in my own stories. Was I real in this reality that is Dimension 1218? And then I was confirmed in late 2007 with that blurry photograph of me in a moment of great shock and stress. And everyone ended up making fanfictions about me, my family, my peoples, city, nation, and my Pokemon, including Sonichu and Rosechu. In a sense, while I already had my own chronicler, my DC superhero self-counterpart in Metropolis, the Quick Cyclite, everyone here in 1218 was all up in fanficking me, indirectly and directly attempting to alter my own life and decisions, as well as those around me who mainly originated here. Why is everyone compelled to follow me? The answer simply is that you all just do, in fated events, destiny, or whatever. Me? I have known all of my life I was special for some reason, counting being first-person perspective camera 00000000001. I'm awakening, I'm learning, I'm developing, I keep getting stronger, better able, smarter, and powerful, and out of all the fanfic chaos of me up till now. Is it any wonder, as some of you put it cleverly, that Magi-Chan, I, and everyone else of C197 needs to do a bit of retconning? Just something to ponder over. Lightning bolt, blue heart, lightning bolt emojis. On September 18th, Magi-Chan apparently returned to Twitter to inform his followers that he was continuing to converse with other people, many of which from the Kiwi Farms, and vowed to visit the site's administrator, Null, soon. 2 days later, Jacob Sockness wrote that Christine was allegedly planning for a lot of fun for the occasion of his supposed upcoming visit, and that Barbara's birthday during the trip would be better than all 77 that came before it. A seemingly concerned Twitter user urged Christine to wake up to Jacob's arguably manipulative tactics. He denied manipulating her, but admitted to telling her lies that made her feel good, looking forward to write on whatever may transpire in his book series concerning his experiences with channeling sessions and knowledge of demonic entities and alien civilizations. Later on, after Ben Saint began featuring Chris's unicorn self-counterpart character, Nightstar, in his comic, Christine acknowledged that Saint's storyline concerning Nightstar and Maleficent Slime in New Milwaukee in the dimension C197 was actually happening. Over in his private Discord, Ben Saint revealed to his followers his plans to keep Christine satisfied with the way he incorporated her characters into his comic, hoping to eventually lead to Chris drawing characters or elements related to Saint's comic as part of Sonichu lore. Later again, in response to a tweet reply thread featuring people seemingly fetishizing people with autism, Chris replied that she was taken aback by the tweets, but also not surprised by it, given the average and not average traits of people on the autism spectrum, and that she foresaw the tweet coming. On September 20th, Chris wrote a lengthy tweet thread explaining why Nightstar in Ben Saint's comic behaved villainously. 2 days later, Saint shared 4 new panels for his slime-focused comic, depicting an attack on what appeared to be the World Trade Center Twin Towers of New York City that were destroyed on September 11, 2001. Chris reflected that 9/11 was not fun at all, and reminded Twitter readers that the images were in fact of the Twin Towers that were in New Milwaukee in the C197 dimension, which were fortunately completely devoid of people. Christine then joined Ben Saint's Discord server, which also included Maker Nightfee. Also on September 22nd, Chris shared an online petition calling for the production of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic Season 10. On September 23rd, during Ben Saint's livestream on the streaming platform Twitch, members of the Place Discord strongly discouraged him from interfering with Chris's life and attempted to blackmail him.
I get it. People are mean to Chris. That's
Chris
it.
Chris is very malleable. Chris
Sure.
has real friends. The less people that know about Chris, the better. To be honest.
Cat's out of the bag, my dude.
Yeah, I get that, but it just doesn't help.
No, I don't want to do anything to hurt Chris. I promise. That wouldn't be funny. Okay, these people on Twitter, they're in there and they're like, "Oh, Ben, quit playing along with Chris's bullshit. She's delusional. She's crazy. She needs to go to a therapist. She needs help. I'm here trying to give her tough love because I'm gonna fucking fix Chris and make her sane again." And these people are fucking monsters. These people are nightmares. I hate them. They're just there to abuse Chris. I'm just trying to have a good time. All right? I think Chris is fun. I like her. Sounds
Honestly,
cool.
prefer that you not do it at all because Chris is a person and doesn't deserve to be trolled constantly.
I'm not trolling. I'm not trolling. Chris explicitly told me that she liked the crossover. She liked the idea. She wanted to see it. So I'm making it. How is this trolling? This is nuts.
It just sounds really manipulative and not very nice because the way you're putting it anyway sounds really douchebaggy and I don't like it.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He claimed on Twitter that their intimidation was for naught since he had no money. During this time, Saint was continuously posting new panels for his comic story, which notably featured Nightstar. This drew criticism from Jacob Sockness, amongst others, who felt he was using Chris's intellectual property for profit. Christine, however, told Jacob to settle down, since Saint was doing no harm. On September 25th, Jacob Sockness posted on Reddit his itinerary for a one-way trip by train from Oakland, California to Charlottesville, Virginia on an undisclosed date in the year 2019. Accompanying the picture, Sockness wrote that allegedly both he and Christine were tested negative for sexually transmitted diseases, and that he planned to video record themselves having sex and keep it private, vowing to destroy Chris's ass like carpeting bombing Germany in World War II.
Tell me a bedtime story. Christine.
Members of the Kiwi Farms managed to match up the arrival and departure times of the connecting trains on the trip to a specific route that would bring Jacob to Charlottesville at 7:01 p.m. on Saturday, September 28, 2019. Forum users debated whether or not to inform Chris or the relevant authorities about Sockness's arrival. Sockness then privately messaged Chris-Chan-centric YouTuber Gibby, revealing that Chris said she loved him and possibly wanted to be his girlfriend. When Christine heard that Jacob was likely already on his way to her via train, she was convinced by members of the Place Discord to ask him to turn back, and then recorded a voice message for her followers.
Okay, this is Christine Weston Chandler Sonichu, and I extend this message out to all the individuals who are actually not just all bark and no bite, wanting to intercept Jacob Sockness on his trip to Virginia, or at this point possibly back to California, because I'm pretty much going to tell him that the visit is off. I want you all to intercept and talk with him. Thank you.
Chris then shared the recording along with a series of tweets. I am just beating myself up over this, but I feel compelled to say something now. Yes, I did indeed tell Jake to return home. And yes, I made the following recorded statement. I have had a really rough day yesterday. My soul, aura, vibrations, and psychic senses were hopping the walls with me. I even fainted, and Mewtwo had to possess my limbs to get me from my desk to bed. I crashed and slept for a few hours. And then to hear the more recent statement of him, and my body just extensively heating up, counter-arguing. As I could, but I just could simply no longer overlook the red flags of faded warning. When your body gets hot like a macargo, and it hurts, you do not ignore it. Besides which, my senses and psychic links have been seriously going off and on like crazy recently, so mainly, on that, I ultimately chose to send Jake back home, and I made the statement to make sure he gets the message. I'm really sorry, Jacob. As much as I do love and care about you, it is simply too soon. Not long after, Chris wrote that it was fated and decided that Jacob return home to California, and that there would be someone waiting at the train station in Chicago to hand him a return ticket. Sockness afterwards claimed that the itinerary he shared was faked, and that he was in fact coming to visit Christine around Halloween time via plane. On September 26th, Chris wrote an alleged message from Sockness's alter ego, Michiro, directed at Sockness. Michiro stated that even though the journey to Chris's Sonichu temple was an escape from the evil influences of the demonic Jacoba, his alliances with certain nefarious characters served as a reason for his need to return back to California and to rethink his decisions. Christine then relayed to Jacob that she felt terrible for telling him to go back home because she loved and cared for him. She added that she was not in the best health situation to take on a guest, and that even though she was immortal, she could still feel pain. Jacob then tweeted that he would terminate his Twitter account since his involvement with the dimensional merge ended in failure. He then turned to Twitter user T. Gasper, who practiced dark magic, and proclaimed that he would be Sockness's mentor. Jacob then sought to summon chaos in the aftermath of Chris's rejection. The following day, Sockness confessed that he was in no position to cause any harm to Christine. He admitted he got angry earlier because he tried hard to prove to her how much he loved her, such as spending $1,500 of his own money and losing 30 pounds of weight from stress and exercising, only to be rejected because of the actions of a troll. He promised to try reach her again with a friend at some later point. Chris then confirmed that Jacob was on his way back home to San Francisco. On September 28th, Christine wrote on Twitter that she was feeling better, but still very vibrational and psychically sensitive. She added that she was aiming to attend the unofficial My Little Pony convention, BabsCon, with undisclosed friends, set to take place in San Francisco, California in April 2020, and was estimating the total cost for the journey to be $2,000 to $3,000. She added that an official donation link would be later posted, and shared her personal PayPal donation link in the meantime. Jacob's softness reflected that her attendance at the convention would fortunately allow the two to meet. A concerned longtime follower of Chris wrote that she should instead focus on paying off debts and saving up money instead of begging for it from fans. Chris then logged into her Magi-Chan Sonichu Twitter account to write that the family were paying off debts the best they could, and that Christine's attendance in BabsCon had been fated to happen so they could use the financial help. Another individual tweeted that they had allegedly conversed with Magi-Chan, who told them that the funds Chris received should instead be used to contribute to a certain fundraiser to aid a baby's medical treatment. Chris replied, still under the guise of being Magi-Chan, but mistakenly on her own personal account, writing that they should not say that they've talked to Magi-Chan if they did not in actuality, insulted by the trolling but not malicious habits. The user wrote back that they did not realize saving a child's life was a troll move. Christine in response then donated $10 to the baby's fundraiser. Also at around this time, the Magi-Chan account began acknowledging one Helena G. Fiorenza, who would post photographs with her drawings of Magi-Chan placed into the scenes, posting as if she was interacting with him. Magi-Chan confirmed that Helena did, apparently, meet with him. On September 29th, Ben Saint continued to draw more panels for his comic, which he colloquially referred to as the Night Star comic. Members of the Place Discord then confronted the alleged Magi-Chan controlling Chris's Discord account about the comic, asking if Saint was paying her any royalties for using her character. Magi-Chan then revealed that she was working on a 15-card expansion pack for the Twilight Sparkle's secret Shipfic folder card game, which chronicled the events of the slime invasion in Arizona, as written about by Ben Saint. When accused of theft, Magi-Chan defended him, given that he shared the panels for free on Twitter, but he had a Patreon which Magi-Chan claimed was meant to fund a different comic project, even though Saint explicitly stated in the Patreon page's description that it was meant for the crossover project, combining his own and Sonichu's universes. On September 30th, Christine was witnessed arguing with a bot, or user-like automated system on Ben Saint's Discord server, which would output written outcomes relating to Saint's comic's malicious slime entity based on other members' commands. Finally, Ben Saint posted further comic updates, to which Magi-Chan responded, reminding Ben and his readers that the comic was not a Night Star comic, and branded Saint's depiction of deaths and abuse against his own original characters, Phantom Horn and Strawberry Milk, as madness and cruelty. He felt that the slime was badly affecting Saint's judgment. Ben replied, writing that after peeling back the veil between dimensions, he was simply depicting actual events, regardless of how violent they were, but was confident there would be a happy ending for his characters. On October 1st, Chris wished her mother a happy and safe 78th birthday, posting a recent photo of her. They celebrated by eating at the Wood Grill buffet chain restaurant. The next day, she posted new artwork featuring Ben Saint's characters, Phantom Horn and Strawberry Milk, mentioning that Saint's chronicling efforts were falling behind those of Christine, who, with Magi-Chan's help, had just completed the Arizona Slime expansion pack for the Twilight Sparkle's secret Shipfic folder card game. She proceeded to post the artwork and description for her original cards, focusing on Night Star and Chris-Chan Sonichu's involvement with Saint's characters, and the complete and peaceful cleanup of the malicious slime in Arizona via rains of bicarbonate of soda and sugar. On October 3rd, the supposed Magi-Chan asked users of the Place Discord whether Ben Saint was making his comic featuring Night Star for financial gain. The others told him that he was. After listening to their input, he decided to then message Ben privately on Twitter, letting him know that the slime had been cleaned up, and vaguely criticized Saint's use of Chris's characters for financial gain. In return for his greed, Saint was asked to send at least $300 to Christine's PayPal account to help fund the printing and sending of the Arizona slime-themed Twilight Sparkle's secret Shipfic folder expansion pack. Magi-Chan closed by writing that he and his alleged spouse Chris were expecting a large donation from Ben within the coming weeks. Saint then shared these messages on his Twitter account and added new comic panels, claiming that the people needed slime to survive, and what Chris did was akin to genocide. Christine wrote back that the people would instead simply return to being human. After receiving numerous messages from other users, Saint made a post crossly ordering everyone to refer to Chris with she/her pronouns. Also on that day, Alan Christopher founded another fundraiser to help Christine get to BabsCon, with a goal of £4,000 sterling. On October 4th, the conglomerate toy and game-focused company Hasbro announced a 10th season of My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, continuing the storyline of the cartoon series, though as a comic book-only iteration. Christine expressed her displeasure at the news, demanding that seasons 10 to 14 have to be animated for TV, as the protagonists of the show apparently commanded, and that the next generation of the show could not air until the completion of Friendship is Magic Season 14. Later on, Ben Saint, in a possible attempt to antagonize Christine, continued to post new images of the characters in his comics suffering and dying from slime eliminating rain that Magi-Chan and Chris created, pleading for her to stop it from falling. Chris, mistakenly writing as Magi-Chan on her own Twitter account, clarified that the rain had stopped falling and everyone was recovering, and acknowledged that those that had died were the worst individuals. Magi-Chan told Saint to stop his memeing and harping on the subject, because his attempts at toying with Magi-Chan's emotions did not work. Ben also tried to provoke Chris on his slime-focused Discord server, in which Christine was a member, role-playing as his alter ego, the Cop Killer, claiming that the rains had killed over 70,000 people and that Chris was spreading propaganda denying wrongdoing. On October 7th, she updated her Patreon supporters with new custom cards for the Twilight Sparkle's secret Shipfic folder card game. Several patrons were angered by her first significant update in a long while, which consisted of cards that were only played by a minor subset of the Brony community and were not updates to the Sonichu comic books like they were expecting. Also on that day, Christine took an online personality test, both as Magi-Chan and as herself, and found that they were both protagonist personality types, though Chris was found to be more turbulent. On October 9th, Chris responded to a work of fanfiction concerning Sonichu and the character SNT, created by artist and YouTuber Project SNT, which was written by OpusCon789, who was also Kiwi Farms user Something Random 987. After Project SNT streamed herself reading through some of the story on YouTube, Chris and Magi-Chan finished reading it themselves, and reflected that the events in the story in fact happened in dimension R687, and criticized the author of the fanfic for failing to understand Chris's intentions, taking things out of context, and grossly exaggerating. OpusCon789 also needlessly warped the minds of SNT and her creator, but as Solace was recognized for their talents in seeing into other dimensions. For the reckless actions involving OCs from dimensions C197 and 1218, Chris declared that karma would bite their sorry ass for the great amount of damage they had wrought, noting that dimension R687 was a great mess, where DC Comics superhero Batman laughed at everything his arch-nemesis, the Joker, said. Christine closed by noting she would not sue OpusCon789. Instead, Fate and Destiny would complete and supervise over their punishment. On October 10th, after spending several days of drawing and scanning original Sonichus and Roastchus based on her online friends, Chris combined them all into a single doctored picture, depicting the supposed launch party for her new deck of cards for the game Twilight Sparkle's secret Shipfic folder. 2 days later, she addressed her haters who criticized her for making custom trading cards instead of the Sonichu comic books that people on Patreon paid her to continue. Chris wrote that people should be glad that she was making canonical Sonichu merchandise in the meantime before she resumed making more comic pages. Christine continued to live in her own world of idyllic illusion, though supplanting her famed comics with trading cards, perhaps to harken back to his younger years of playing trading card games. But now, instead of seeking the thrill of winning matches, she was enacting fantasies of matchmaking and romance with characters of her own design, controlling a game of love over which Chris herself had no control.